advice and opinions expressed in the program are solely that of Heiar Insurance, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands. Welcome in, everybody, to Taking Care of Business. It's a Friday, which means Senior Solutions with Heiar Insurance. Matt Heiar, good morning.
Morning. How are we doing today?
We're doing well. I'm going to start off, first and foremost, by letting people know if you want to call and talk to Matt. Let's get the number out there right away. Give us a call at 920-887-9595. You can call or text that line, or you can give us a call at 920-885-4446. And I have it on very good authority that Ashley is up in the studio waiting to help you. So feel free to give us a call, and she'll direct that call down to us. The first thing I want to talk to you about is something that's completely unrelated to everything you do. But this last Monday, Packers played. I got to get your thoughts. I know you're a fan.
Well, I mean, our defense showed up.
Which is good.
Yes, they did well and stuff. The offense was a little scary, but everyone was so, down and, trying to get rid of the coach and all this stuff. And realistically, it's that was the defending Super Bowl champs. You know? It's not like some bad team.
And it was a 3-point game.
Yes, it was much closer than the last time we played them in the playoffs. So we got to take the positives from it. It's a long season. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of games left. So we just got to kind of go on a run. And I think moving forward, we should just worry about winning the games we should win. And those games are coming up here. So they might be a rival, south of us.
Right.
But, yes, we got to win those games. And I don't know. It's just it's a long season, and it's that's why they call it Overreaction Monday.
Right.
Because everyone's like, well, this coach is gone, this team's done. And it's hard to say that in the middle of the season.
Right.
So basically, we're pretty injured right now. We got a lot of injuries. So I'm still glass half full right now.
Awesome. Now, my follow-up question to that is, it's a Monday night game. Those games go kind of late. You have had very busy days lately because we are full on in the midst of the Medicare login and run through. But then we're also about to kick off the Affordable Care Act stuff, right? Or is that that's already started?
Yes, that started.
Right. So we're in the midst of both. You got the overlap going on. You got to be putting in some crazy hours. Did you even watch the whole game, or did you go to bed early?
Oh no, I watched the game. I had to, and actually, it wasn't too long. It got done at 10:30. But yeah, it was. It's been very busy this week. People we're running drug plans. We're reviewing people's insurance, and then of course, yes, we're signing people up for Marketplace. Little different this year. We're going to pre-COVID times, so
right. I was saying because now the government's reopened, no continuing subsidies. So those numbers people were seeing in there are now the accurate numbers.
Yes, but they could make a change.
Right.
It's our government. They could shut down.
You never know.
And the scary part is they're reopened. All right, hooray! Because the travel was just getting ridiculous.
It was.
But at the same time, they're reopened till January 30th.
Is that how far they pushed it? Okay, yeah.
That is not too far away.
That is not a big window, no. So we could see another one of these coming up pretty quick.
Yes, and that's what we hope. We hope for the best, but yeah, it's obviously, that's why we voted these people in to work and to make decisions, and hopefully we can learn from this. But yeah, it kind of screwed up the Marketplace insurance, even though the Marketplace insurance these credits were set to expire, and they were the COVID credits, so they were a continuation of the original credits. So we're still having tax credits. It doesn't make sense at all. So some people, they're like, yep, same income as last year, and they're paying $200 a month. And I'm like, oh, well, your plan, if you stay on it, is $100.
Hey, great news. Wonderful.
But that doesn't make sense because we were trained that the tax credits were going to be less,
right.
So it just doesn't make sense. But that's why it's time to come renew your application, reapply those tax credits to the 26 tax credits. And so, yes, some people are right on that threshold where it's there's a cliff now where if you make, say, $55,000 as a single, you'll get a tax credit. If you make $56,000, you do not get one. And that's the scary part because it's people that are right around there. I don't know if it's wise to take the tax credit per se, so we'll have to kind of play around with that. But yeah, so if you're above a household of it's roughly $83,000, you will not get a tax credit. So that's you have to pay the full price of the plan.
Right.
And the good part about it is we don't have to worry about it. So you can work more, you can turn your Social Security on, you can pull more from your investments, and we don't have to worry about your insurance going up. It is what it is. And that's kind of how it used to be back in the day. But yes, if we are getting a tax credit, we want to be as accurate as possible. And the thing that stinks is for people like that are self-employed, like our farmers and stuff, because we want to make sure that they, actually, because it's hard for them to be like, yeah, I'm going to make 50,000 next year. We don't know that. We don't know corn prices. We don't know bean prices. So it's very difficult for them, the self-employment. But yeah, if you work at a small factory that doesn't, allow you to have insurance, yes, it's going to be 40,000. It is what it is. Very easy for us.
Right.
But that is one big thing that we've had quite a few calls lately. They're like, I want to go in the marketplace. Sure. Well, they're offered coverage through their job. So one of the questions on the application is, are you or your spouse offered coverage through your job? If we answer yes to that, you can go in the marketplace, but you do not get a tax credit.
Oh.
So we basically, it's like a no-brainer. Take your group insurance.
Right.
And there are ways we can get around that if we can prove that the group insurance is unaffordable, like where it exceeds a certain amount of your household income. But typically we want to stick with group insurance because it's so much more than just your health insurance. It's dental, vision, your drugs, everything in one. So, but it's kind of been what we've been dealing with a lot lately.
Right.
Pretty tired.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so it's been a lot, but a lot of calls on the commercials they're hearing. A lot of people like that are on supplements. They don't have the extra dental, vision, hearing aid coverage, so they're asking like, what is that? Can I get a policy that just has that and keep my health insurance? And we can't. It's one or the other.
Right.
So you could do a supplement or you could do Advantage plan. But we've had a lot of people coming in this year, more than I would say on average, that their supplements are jumping up.
Right.
Huge increases. And multiple carriers, and they're wanting to look at Advantage plans. And it's crazy because usually we have a transition where a lot of people will want to go to a supplement one year. Not too common where we're having this many people try to jump to an Advantage plan. Advantage plans have zero health questions. They're 1-year contracts. So, yes, this is your time. If you want to jump to one, you can. October 15th to December 7th.
Now, the Affordable Care Act ones, those are 1-year contracts as well, but do they auto roll if you don't make any changes?
Yes, but we want to make changes because that's why so many people are scheduling appointments, because the letters that were sent out by the providers, they didn't know the tax credits.
So it doesn't show any tax
It
credits.
shows the full price of the plan.
So you get a letter that says like, oh, now it's going to be $900 a month, and you're like, what?
Yeah, when you were paying like $60 a month.
Right. Then you go in and find out, oh no, it's just some of the credits have changed. Here's the actual.
Yes. So that's
Talk
why
about a scare tactic.
I know. We have to act on it. And then there is one drug plan that really jumped like $50 a month. So everyone's been switching off of that. We haven't had anyone stay on that. But they'll gladly keep you on the plan for an extra $50 a month.
Why not?
So if you're paying a premium for your drug plan, you should definitely probably give us a call, because the like 6 of the 10 drug plans are $0. So, and that they made a rule this year, in 2025, they said you can't spend more than $2,000 on prescription medications, covered prescription medications.
Right.
So but the only thing that doesn't count, that's your deductibles, that's your copays, but it doesn't count your premium. So typically, why would we pay a premium, when that's just going to be, we could spend more than the $2,000. Now, next year, it goes to $2,100.
Right.
So nothing big. But the biggest thing that, we have to realize this time of year is plans are meant to review, but not necessarily switch.
Right.
I know all the mail, the phone calls, the emails, the commercials that they're saying, you're missing out. There's changes in Medicare. There's not.
Right.
I wish, but because I could request a few changes, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, it's time to review, and you get one shot. So this is your time. You get 7-8 weeks, October 15th to December 7th. So if you haven't yet, give us a call. We are running into a bit of a problem, like with just appointments, just slots for appointments, because so we're kind of having to find ways around that, but because everyone's coming in because they got that scary letter from the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Hey, you're going to pay $1,000. You're going to pay $1,500. So it's not always the case. If you're not getting a tax credit, yes, that potentially could be that way. So that's why if we can't get you in, we can definitely get you a phone call. We could talk about it. We can go over it and answer any questions you have. So just give us a call at 920-887-0580.
I had somebody ask me recently. I can understand the convenience of having 1-year contracts on a lot of these because your health can change vastly from year to year. But why don't they just offer other options? Like right now, they're already talking about extending mortgages to 50 years and car loans to 15 years. Why can't they extend these to 2 years? Let you lock in a rate that you like for.
Wow. I mean, you just made me happy thinking about that.
Right. I mean,
It's like
you
I
a
get
bit
to
of a break,
skip an
right?
enrollment period. Yeah, I know. A lot can happen in a year, though. So especially like when it comes to our health. And that's the thing is everyone's picking like to make these plans affordable. They're picking the catastrophic plan.
Right.
Like I've had rare cases where people are picking like you said, like the gold or the silver. And that's the scary part when people come in, they're like, guess what? I met my out-of-pocket maximum. I'm like, oh, like we're talking $9,000 this year. And that's a lot of money. So we're just trying to bridge a gap to 65 without wishing our life away.
Right.
So we just taking it 1 year at a time is nice. I mean, that's what your group insurance does.
Right.
You have your enrollment period. You're like, hey, if you do nothing, it rolls right over. A lot of people don't even look at it. They're like, yep, I'm working. This is my 15th year here. It's like, it is what it is.
Yeah. They get that team meeting where they're like, well, here's what the premiums are going to be this year. Things are changing by this much. Just sign your thing on the, when you're done.
I know. And the worst part is like when they switch carriers, because can you go to your doctors?
Right.
I mean, and that's the main thing is like, we want your insurance to be affordable, but I want you to be able to see the doctors.
Right.
Or if you travel, I want you to be able to use the insurance. So it's more so we're like trying to advise you in certain ways like that, like rather than like this company is a national carrier. They're huge and they give you money for groceries. That's what we're hearing. And it's like, I'm more worried about health insurance and can you go to your doctor?
Right.
Really important.
Yeah, you definitely want to be able to go see the people you're used to seeing who know your health situation. I think we've all had that situation where we go to a doctor we've never been to before, and you're now running through your medical history because we know the communication between doctors' offices and hospital groups is not always stellar.
Yes. Well, and I actually had my physical, and that's the thing. I had my physical Wednesday. And they did my blood pressure. He was fine. And they're like, oh, we're going to take your heart rate. They put like a little thing on my finger. And they're like, oh, your heart rate's a little high. And I'm like, what? Like, that's scary right away. What does that mean? Am I dying? And it was like 107. And they're like, that's a little high. Does it normally run high? I have no idea.
Right.
I couldn't tell you. So like now I'm nervous. I don't think people's heart rates are low at a doctor's office.
I mean, no, because you're always worried they're going to find something. It's they can paint the walls, whatever calming shade of taupe they want. You're still going to be like, do I really want to be here?
It was a little nerve wracking, but yeah, we talked it through and they're like, did you have coffee? I was like, no, that scared me even more, like they're asking questions. But I did the labs and stuff and just got a message from yesterday that said, hey, good labs, no concerns over here, which made me feel really good.
Right.
And did it cost me anything? No. It was your yearly wellness exam, your routine labs, routine physicals. Absolutely, we should be doing this. There's so many times where they're finding things too late.
Right.
And that's where it's like, if an insurance company is going to offer this, why not take it? The preventative stuff is huge because that's when we find things and we can catch them early.
I will say I got to give you credit for having your blood pressure in the right levels with everything you're having to go through right now and how busy you're having to be. So that must mean you really enjoy what you do, even if it's a busy time of year.
Yeah, I probably won't schedule my physical around this time anymore. It just kind of felt like my doctor, I had to like cancel appointment and stuff, and then to get in, it took a while, and I didn't even think about it, but this was probably my first physical during like the enrollment period. So a little scary. That could be the heart rate thing.
Right, that could be.
I'm justifying anything right now.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, that was huge, just knowing it just gave me peace of mind, and just kind of like these enrollment periods right now. It's just like, oh, did I make the right decision or should I have stayed? Should I have not? It's like, that's where you're just giving us a call and it's typically like a 30, 40-second conversation where you're like, are you happy with it? Any problems? Can you see your doctor still? Yeah. It's like, well, then why do anything?
Right.
They're like, oh, okay, well, I was talking to my coworker, and it's like, yeah, and that's usually where it starts, the game of telephone, where
Right.
it's like they said this or they had this, and everyone's situation is different. So that's why we have to show you multiple plans because it's not just one shoe fits all, which would make my life a lot easier.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so 1 year actually is probably better, even though it's not that much fun. But it's a lot can happen in a year. So we just take it 1 year at a time, and if we're happy, do nothing, and that's
Right.
just like your group insurance.
I actually found myself recently kind of paraphrasing, quoting you a little bit. I was talking to somebody who said, well, why can't we just go back to the days where if I'm somebody who doesn't go to the doctor ever, that I don't even need to have health insurance. I don't even need to, whatever, and I can just choose not to have it. And I said, well, you don't get it for the occasional sniffle, occasional cold with flu. But if you have one of those catastrophic $1 million cancer years, you're going to be very, very happy you have it.
Well, that's like crashing your car and trying to get insurance.
Right.
And it's I know sometimes it hurts. It hurts paying all these different insurances we have, right? And it's protection for us,
Right.
but it's like, why is it so expensive? And that's why if the government wants to go after people, like, yeah, do that.
Right.
Go after these ridiculous rates. But it's the trickle effect. I don't know where we attack it. With the procedures are expensive. And medications are expensive. So it would have to be an all-out attack.
Right.
And I think there'd be a lot of pushback between obviously huge companies. So it's a frustrating thing, but it's essentially peace of mind.
Right.
And of course, an insurance agent is saying that, but at the same time, I have to have it. I have all the different insurances. Do I want it? No. Does it hurt me when I see it go out of my account? Yes. But it just knows that I'm not filing bankruptcy if something major happens.
Right.
Whether it is my home or my car or, my life insurance or, the health insurance. Yeah, it's a lot if you start adding it up, like how much of your actual income is for these insurances.
Right.
But it's protection. And I know it sounds cliche, but it really is. It's peace of mind, and that's why we get our time to review it. And you should review it for all your insurances. Does this make sense now? When I picked this out 5 years ago, I was in this situation. Has my situation changed?
Right.
And that's basically what it is. So you get your time to review, but you can't complain about it in February, March, April when you're like, oh, why did I stick with this? And things happen, and it's not the end of the world. It's like, yeah, you might not have been on the best plan for the situation that happened, next spring, but then we review it. Then we switch to something that coordinates better with your current situation.
Right.
Crystal ball. I wish we had the crystal ball.
If only. I had somebody once describe to me the concept of insurance, be it health insurance, car insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, whatever, as being kind of a morbid industry because they're banking on your house burning down, you getting into an accident, you getting sick, you dying, or you not, the odds one way or the other. Coming from your point of view, is that really morbid or is it more pragmatic and practical to consider those things? Because some of them are inevitabilities some cases.
Well, and that's why I feel like some insurance companies spend so much money on the preventative, right? Because they would rather have things caught earlier.
Right.
So because it's going to be a lot more expensive if it's caught later on in the situation. But the people that run insurance companies are mathematical geniuses, right? I mean, we're essentially all a number.
Right.
And that's where it's like there isn't a right or wrong answer, but it is frustrating at times, But yeah, it's like the life insurance. I hope we never use it.
Right.
I do not want to use it. That means I'm not here if I use my life insurance. Auto, that is hopefully I don't use that, and if I do use it, it's something minor, But the health insurance, statistically, that's the one you're going to use the most, right? And then that's why you should be using it for the preventative stuff and schedule your physicals in the middle of an enrollment period. It's a pain in the butt. No one likes to go to the doctor. Then they have a high heart rate. Then you're like, oh no, but it's still once I got that message saying, hey, no concerns over here. That's all I needed. I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm in probably the most stressful time in my year, and my labs and everything's good. That's what it is. Yes, you pay for it, but that's why you should be taking advantage of these mammograms, colonoscopies, yearly wellness visits. Those are preventative, and those are the things that find certain things. And it's a situation where I've had so many cases now of people not going to the doctor, and people do come in. I haven't been to the doctor the last 10 years.
Right.
That's good and bad, right? I mean, it's good. Obviously, there's nothing major going on, but what if there is?
Right. I mean, I've been in the literal conversation where, I'll say to somebody, well, yeah, I've been to the doctor in, 3 years. And then I'll have my wife stand next to me and go, yeah, you probably should have gone when you twisted your ankle that time, and we're pretty sure you broke it. And it's like, stop talking.
Yep,
Like,
I know.
You're ruining the image.
And I feel like it's a pride thing a lot of
Right.
times. You're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. But it's like there is a lot of people that pass away because, they're having like signs of a heart attack, like
Right.
shoulder pain, dizziness. And they're like, I'm just going to go to sleep, never wake up. And it's like, it's not a pride thing. I know we're a tough generation and it's like, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Yeah, well, there's certain things that, need tending to.
Yeah, child of the 80s, man. I drank from the hose. I'm fine.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
and that's probably why you have to go to the doctor now.
Yeah, there's probably a good chance of that. Lead in the water or something. Chewing on the windowsills, getting that lead paint in me.
Oh, yes.
Medication costs. That's one of those things that's always a concern for people. Lately, there's been, I've seen so many reporting one way or the other of, oh, they're going to bring prescription prices down by 300% and 1,500%, which, of course, mathematically, we all know that's not possible. 100% is the max you can do. But the idea is that they're trying to find ways to reduce prescription costs. Have you seen that that's had any effect on any of the prescription drug plans that you've been looking at, where there's been some eye-openers or some changes and things that weren't covered that are now, or, that have gone differently?
Yeah, like some of the, okay, so typically every year is like if you've had an expensive medication, when we run your medication next year, it's gonna be expensive.
Right.
So I'm like, yes, I ran your meds. It's gonna be about $1,600 for next year for all your meds. And they're like, oh yeah, that seems about right. And I'm like, what? And they're like, oh yeah, that medication's expensive. So like they're used to it by now. But there are some like GLP-1s that they've made like a specialty tier where yes, you have to meet your like $600 deductible, but the specialty tier copay is like $11.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yes. So it's there's been a couple shockers for that. Inhalers are frustrating.
I know a lot of people with COPD, asthma, other breathing issues where inhalers are kind of that crutch where they hate having to get them.
Yes, and actually, it's funny you say that because I had someone call and say like, can you just run and see which inhalers are, just put a bunch of different inhalers in and see which ones are actually covered, and it's like I'm not a doctor.
Right.
Like there's inhalers for COPD, for asthma, for rescue inhalers. There's so many different ones. I don't think you could go to your doctor and be like, my insurance agent said.
He says this was covered. Prescribe it.
Yeah. So what I recommend is like call your doctor and say, hey, like this one's really expensive or it's not covered by any plans next year. Can you give me a couple options and I can, and then give them to me and I can run them and see how they're covered, the expenses. But yeah, that was funny when someone said that. One of the girls brought back a note saying like they're just wondering if you could put in a bunch of different ones and no, I'm not a doctor at all.
Right.
Did not go to school near long enough to be a doctor, but that is a situation. And then we're having problems with like medications not covered, and that's where like not one plan.
Right.
So these plans have to cover 3 drugs in every drug class. So they will cover it. So they might send you a letter saying, hey, we don't cover this drug, but you could try X, Y, and Z. And then say you've tried all those. It's like, well, that doesn't mean you won't get the drug. You could have your doctor submit a note to the drug company and say like, we've tried those and this is why we really need this drug covered X, Y, Z. And perhaps you can get a one-time exception where they will give that person, not everyone on the plan, a one-time exception where they could cover the drug. So there are situations because we're running medications right now. In 3 months, they might send you a letter saying, yep, we're not covering it now.
Right.
Then they call me saying, hey, you said this was covered.
And you're like, oops.
Well, and that's what I just don't get. These are 1-year contracts like we talk about, but they can change the contract in the middle of the year.
I actually know somebody who they were prescribed a medication and they would take it and then they would get like almost like an allergic reaction breakout in their mouth from taking the drug. And it turns out that that particular drug was like coated in something that had some animal byproduct or something in it that they happened to be allergic to.
Sure.
And they had no clue. Doctor didn't know either. And so I was like, okay, we got to find something else. And it was kind of a schlep for them to find something else that actually would work for them that didn't have this particular type of coating on it.
And that's where we run into problems a lot when people are allergic to the generic, and then all of a sudden they need the name brand medications, and like basically all the plans will not cover it because this generic's been out for 10 years, 20 years, and they're like, why would we cover the name brand when the generic's been out forever? So I get it. Obviously, it's about the money, but at the same time, generics have changed. Like before, they actually might have been even kind of close, similar,
right.
But not like now they're like almost the same drug. So like that's why have had some people like their doctor's like, well, we could try it again. That was you got hives kind of one time, and we could try it, and then but sometimes it's like the manufacturer. Because like you could be on a blood pressure medication and it looks different every time you go pick it up, because it depends on the supplier that gave it to you and stuff. So that's where we run into problems also, but it's not the end of the world, right? So and that's why I kind of educate people, because you can do this yourself. You can go right on Medicare.gov. You type in your medications, type in the pharmacy you go to, and then it'll show you the 10 plans. It's no secret.
Right.
And that's typically when people turn 65. That's why we have the big screen. I show them what I'm doing. They can do it themselves if they want. I will sign them up, though, for the first one, because you'll get penalized if you don't have credible prescription drug coverage. So I want to make sure at least you have drug coverage when you leave the office.
Make sure it's there. Make sure it's in place.
But yes, I mean, you can be doing your own research, and I have a lot of people now that are, which is fine. But we just have to make sure we're on Medicare.gov, the government website. And yeah, there's no secret plan out there between the Advantage plans and drug plans. They're all there. 1-year contracts. We find out October 1st.
Now, you did touch on two things there that are really important. One, Medicare.gov, not Medicare.com.
Big time.
.net or anything like that. It's got to be that .gov. That's that governmental site. That's why it's there. Two, when we talk about sign-ins, login.gov, SSA.gov.
Oh, yes.
I know that's always a sore subject right now because it's a weird system, but I'm going to stress again for your benefit, if you can get signed up on those now ahead of time, pre your visit, those 1961 babies, right?
Yes.
That early in the year 61 babies, get that sign up finished now.
Heck, 62, 63 babies, 64. I mean, it's so crucial. I just had one. I mean, I swear I have a story every week about this.
Right.
We created an account. We got in. Perfect. His Social Security number years ago was compromised. So it wouldn't show his data, like the chart, which shows how much you'll make. It wouldn't let us sign up for Medicare. It wouldn't let us do anything. And I was just like, never seen this before. And he's like, oh, of course, it's me and it's stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So then I thought the website was just acting goofy. He came back, same thing. And I'm like, He called Social Security, and yes, at one point in his life, his Social Security number was compromised.
Right.
He had a very common name, which probably didn't help.
Right.
Like John Smith.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for coming in, Mr. Smith.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why. And then we couldn't do anything, and we're on a time crunch. He's retiring. We got to get Medicare going, and so that's why if you could please attempt to sign up for Social Security's on Social Security's SSA.gov, and then you go into the website and then click sign in, and then you have to use login.gov or else ID Me, and those are the two third-party login portals basically that we're going to be using for the government website from here on out. It looks like So it's AI once again. It's getting better,
which is good.
Yes, like if we don't have any weird scenarios like that. But yeah, just this time of year is so tough because the Social Security offices, everyone's retiring, everyone's going on Medicare.
Right.
So you're like watching paint dry. You're sitting on hold for a long time, and it just kind of it gives us a helpless feeling because I'll gladly sign you up for insurance, sign you up for a drug plan, but we can't do that unless the government stuff is taken care of first. I wish another thing is the government would let us They say 90 days prior. That's the soonest we can sign you up. Why? Why can't I sign you up for Medicare 6 months prior?
Right. I mean, if it's not going to go into effect until a certain date, why not?
Yes. I mean, you have to be 65.
Right.
You know, so if you're, it's just little things like that where, you know, and all of a sudden it's January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd. You were supposed to start Medicare in January. And then we call Social Security and they'll be like, yeah, we see it. We'll get it activated. They'll gladly backdate it because you got to pay money.
Right.
But it's like, yes, but for me to sign you up for a policy, I need that number. And Social Security legally cannot give it to us over the phone.
Right.
So yes, that's been the tough things during this enrollment period, you know. But yes, if you've been calling, that's great. You know, my call list is endless, so I will get back to you. Typically, I like to get back to someone within 24 hours. If it exceeds that, I'm sorry.
Right.
We're one step at a time, right? But yeah, I can't complain about any days going slow. That's for sure.
Right. And if you're looking to make that call, 920-887-0580 is the number there at the office. Superstar Jill standing by, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And I know I forgot to ask about this last week, but you guys just brought on a new teammate over there at Heiar.
Yes, we threw her into the wolf's den right away.
And how's she doing?
She's doing well. Yeah, Sarah's been going. She's already helping, you know, take medication lists down, answering. So yes, if you hear Sarah, she is the new team member that has been helping us out, and she's still here. I didn't know. I mean, this is definitely not when you want someone to start. Be like, all right, we really don't have time to train you, but just
right into the Coliseum. Go for it.
Yes, and she's doing well. Great spirits and stuff like that. So it's just tough, but it's, you know, it's kind of one of those sink or swim things where and she's just handling it like a champ. So really cool, really great addition. We're always looking for more people to add to the team because yes, it's not like, you may have a meeting with me, but everything is done in the back end by all those girls.
Right.
You know, so it's not just me, it's all of us that are keeping things going over there. And
it's kind of like you are a doctor. They come in and see you. The nurses in the background take care of everything.
Bad analogy.
Once again, not a doctor, only qualified to apply Band-Aids.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm not even that great at that.
Yeah, me neither.
Ask your mother.
Yeah, exactly. That's why mom's there. Dad's there to kiss it better sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Absolutely.
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something a little bit different. I know, obviously, right now we're focused on, you know, the Medicare and the Affordable Care Act and everything, but lately I've been hearing and seeing a lot more advertising starting to talk more about, again, life insurance popping up again. I just watched, you know, if we're on, I don't know, YouTube or something, we saw an ad pop up, and it was the whole, like, you know, sad music, and, you know, everybody seems to be at, like, a funeral or something, and it's, well, you know, do you know how Aunt so-and-so is going to take care of the bills and how they're going to do this and how they're going to do that, and nobody expected Uncle so-and-so to go down, and like I look over at my wife and she's starting to tear up because it's, you know, Hallmark, you know, Lifetime television level kind of quality acting, and that's her right up her avenue. And I'm thinking, like, okay, they really like to tug at the heartstrings, but at the same time, that is kind of an important conversation to potentially have, depending on your life situation, right?
100%. I mean, that's why, especially like with Rob, what Rob does at our office with the estate planning and stuff, life insurance is the same way, right? We talked about it, right? That was a conversation you had with your wife. But it's like, did you go get a quote or did you look into it further?
Not yet.
And it's just kind of one of the, and that's just everyone, because everyone's like, I'm like, do you have life insurance? They're like, no.
Right.
Or do you have an estate plan?
Not yet.
You know, and it's,
right.
And they're like ashamed almost. And it's like, no, you're talking about it and taking the step to look into it. That's more than we've done before.
And you're not exactly in the minority if you haven't done those things.
Not at all. That's, you know, because it's not a thing we think about.
Right.
Right. And life insurance has to make sense. You know, yes, if you're retiring, have a lot of debt, well, we might want to make sure that's covered.
Right.
Right. And that's why we do a lot of the widowed spouse tests, not just for Social Security, but for actual life insurance needs analysis, like if it makes sense. But a lot of people are calling about life insurance when, you know, their health starts declining.
Right. And that's, of course, there's health checks and things that go into place and
Yes.
underwriting and stuff that has to happen.
Yeah. So I mean, so my recommendation, if you do need it, get it yesterday.
Right.
You know, we were healthier yesterday than today, usually.
Right.
You know, so that would be a thing, but it just has to make sense. Another thing is like a lot of people have been doing is getting like just small policies on their kids or grandkids. You know, and it's just something where they give it to them when they're 18. Maybe it,
Right.
you know, has a little cash value at that time. I don't know if I'd give it to an 18-year-old, maybe 22, 23.
Right.
But you're locking in a rate of a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, where it's going to be that rate for their whole life.
Right.
So if they did, heaven forbid, have something in their teens or early 20s or something where it was a health scare or autoimmune disease, wherever insurance company's going to pick that apart in the future, they have something.
Right.
You know, so, and we're locking in lower premiums. Because like those whole life policies that create cash value, or we call them permanent policies also, that insurance company just signed a contract with you to guarantee to pay you that. They have no choice.
Right.
So that's why typically those are more expensive. So that's why the younger, the better with those.
Right.
And then the cheaper alternative would be term life. And term is exactly how it sounds. It's for that term. That's it.
Right.
You can continue it for 3 times the price moving forward, you know.
Right.
But no one does that. So that's why sometimes, yes, you know, in retirement, if they are going to get a lake house, there's still $100,000 left on it. You know, we don't want to have the family to sell it. You want to keep it in the family. Let's get a term for. There's 10 years left on it. Let's get a 10-year term for $100,000.
Now, with a term, it doesn't necessarily build value like.
Nope.
So it's one of those things where if you say, all right, I need a 10-year term because I want to make sure something happens to me, the house is paid off.
Yep.
You know.
And that's like all of a sudden I've had people do that.
Right.
And then they come back 5 years later. They're like, hey, I paid the house off. Well, let's cancel that term. You know, and we can.
Right. Oh, great. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to tell me you can. I was going to be like, oh, that sucks.
No. And maybe we don't. Like,
Right.
we'll talk about it again and stuff if there's other debts or something like that. But yes, that's why it's for that term, or I like to call it that situation.
Right.
Right. So, and it tends to be cheaper because insurance companies don't pay term out a lot.
Right.
You know, they never take on that much risk.
Right.
But those whole life policies, they're guaranteed 100% they're going to pay that policy.
Right.
So very situational, and a lot of times people come in and they just want a $10,000 policy for a funeral. You know, and it's like, okay, well, do you have if one of you pass away today, do you have enough to pay for a funeral? They're like, well, yeah, of course. So why do we need that then?
Right.
You know, do you have any debt? No. Well, because it's the commercial saying, oh,
Right.
you should get this.
Well, I have to imagine there's at least some mindset where they're like, well, if I have $10,000 to pay for a funeral now, but I could have $10,000 from this company pay for the funeral instead, I still have got my $10,000, right?
Yeah, well, that's true, but that's where it's very situational though, because yes, a lot of people don't have $10,000, so they'd rather pay $50 a month to make sure they have $10,000.
And I think that's kind of what people forget is that you're still making monthly payments towards something,
Which is
right?
$600 a year.
Yeah.
You know, so we start adding that up. It's like, okay, you know, but the thing is with life insurance is once the policy is active, you have it that day.
Right.
You know, day one, you have that $10,000 death benefit or whatever it may be. So it's like, that's why, and there's so many different policies.
Right.
Right. There's policies that have fees on them. There's policies that have all these riders. Like, I love the accidental rider. Like, hey, if you pay 10 more bucks a month, you know, on your policy, we can add, you'll get a $10,000 check if you die accidentally.
Okay.
Okay. You know, and I just see a lot of these policies filled with those kind of riders and stuff, you know, and it's like, really? You know, this isn't supposed to be like, you know, a game show.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, they died accidentally too. They get 10,000 more.
Right.
No, it's we're trying to fill the void or the need that is necessary for our protection.
Right.
You know, you can get overinsured quick. I have a lot of people coming in with like 12 different life insurance policies because they kept answering the door because the guy came back every year and said,
Right.
this is our new policy. This is the best one. So they have
Right.
like 5 or 6 or 7 different like $5,000 policies. Why do you have all these? You know, and it's like, the guy was really nice. Well,
Yeah, great.
And that's why a lot of times I talk people out of it, if it doesn't make sense. But there is times like me, yes, I have life insurance. I have young kids, they have to go to school. They are expensive right now.
Right.
I have debt with my house. Like, yes, I mean, so like I can't just like rip on life insurance, say it's a scam. No, but like there's a lot of people that are seeking it for like, yeah, I'd like to give it to my kids.
Right.
This isn't something that, it's not.
It's not meant to be like a wealth builder.
Well, and it's just because like that's not a good retirement plan.
Right.
I'm looking for inheritance. It's like my mom, I don't know, I don't want to say how old she is, but her mother is 98 years old.
Right.
It's like, is my mom waiting for an inheritance right now? It's all situational. And like, yes, you could get an inheritance, but at the same time, we could end up in a nursing home.
Right.
And watch a lot of that money go away. So that's not a good retirement plan. That's almost like buying lottery tickets.
Right.
Hopefully one day.
Right. Maybe someday. I think that Powerball's up to about 400 million or something. So there you go.
Yeah, and if people want to like go further into it, I mean, it's very situational with life insurance, but we do have like a capital needs analysis form where you fill out like why you want the life insurance. What is your debt? What is your income? What are your assets? And it kind of just breaks it down. And then sometimes people see it on paper. They're like, you're right. I don't need this. And it's like, exactly, but you just hear the commercials.
Right.
Everyone needs one and stuff. And that's why it's because we have to justify to the regulators,
Right.
why are you taking this policy? When you already have another $100,000 in life insurance.
And they make you justify like the amount too, because if you have, let's say, $200,000 in debt you want to cover, and you're asking for $1 million policy, they're going to want to know why.
Oh, they have a lot of questions. Like if you're trying to get life insurance on your children when you don't have life insurance, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
So it's all situational, but that's why, yes, if you want to stop by and fill out a packet, sometimes just seeing it on paper is like, maybe I don't need it.
Right.
But it just has the questions that I typically would ask you.
And that leads us into a great way to kind of close out the show is mention that that's the perk of having a local advocate for you for stuff like this, because you can look at them and say, you probably don't really need this. If you want it, we'll make it happen. But if you don't, don't feel forced into it. Whereas other places might say, yeah, let me just sign you up.
Oh, yes. And it's usually over the phone.
Right.
Yeah. And no health questions, nothing. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're getting health questions.
No, of course.
But that's the thing. Like, I tell people that when they ask me, oh, can I get a quote? Can I get a quote? It's like, we have to do the underwriting first. Underwriting's free. You can get it done. And then we see what they rate you at, basically.
Right.
And then we can absolutely look at numbers, look at products, and just see what's best for us. But filling out that form first is like, our needs analysis. What do we need, if we need anything at all?
Right.
That kind of starts the process.
And when you do that underwriting, it comes back with a number, right?
It comes back as like standard,
Right.
or
Preferred,
or
right.
ultra preferred. And so, yeah, but that's why the younger we are, the healthier we are. And that's typically when we want to do it.
There you go. So no time like the present to look into it, especially if you're sitting with debt you're worried about.
Absolutely.
You don't want to saddle anybody with it. Awesome. Well, Matt Heiar, as always, it's a pleasure having you on.
Yes.
It's been a wonderful Friday, and I see an end in sight coming for you. We got a few more sit-downs before we'll get there.
I got to make it to Thanksgiving usually. That's
Right.
when it's, but 2 weeks from Thanksgiving, we're in the midst of it, and we're going good.
I should mention the week of Thanksgiving. Obviously, you guys close on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
You guys open on Black Friday.
We are not open on Black Friday, so
Smart
we will
move.
not do a radio show.
We will not do a radio show on Black Friday. But that's good because I wasn't planning on being here anyways.
All right, good.
That makes sense. Otherwise, 9 to noon, 1 to 5 over there at the Heritage Mall for Heiar Insurance. Give you guys a call, 920-887-0580. Again, 920-887-0580.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So all I think left to do is let everybody know.
When you want to retire.
Call Heiar. This has been a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Heiar Insurance, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.